You are all requested to take your seats for the opening of the session. The ESCAP Executive Secretary and other high-level guests will be arriving soon. Thank you. meetings. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, will you please join me in welcoming His Excellency Mr. Arkhom Termpitaya Paisit, Minister of Transport, the Royal Thai Government, and Dr. Armida Alishabana, Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to invite Mr. Wei Min Ren, Director of the ESCAP Transport Division, to call the session to order. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you. It is indeed a pleasure to receive you in the United Nations Conference Center in Bangkok for the 5th session of the Committee on Transport. To open our proceedings, we have the pleasure of having with us Dr. Armida Alishabana, the newly appointed Executive Secretary of ESCAP, and His Excellency Dr. Arkhom Termpitaya Paisit, Minister of Transport of the Royal Thai Government. Thank you, Madam, and thank you, Your Excellency, for presence here today, which highlights the importance of transport in this era of sustainable development. Without further ado, I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Armida Alishabana, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, to deliver an opening statement.
Ministers, Excellencies, very distinguished delegates, welcome to the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific and to the 5th session of the Transport Committee. I am delighted to be with you and to be opening this session alongside Mr. Arkhom Termpitayapaisit, the Royal Thai Government's Minister for Transport. The Kingdom of Thailand has valuable recent experience of building sustainable transport infrastructure, from port and airport expansions, road and rail upgrades, to transport smart urban developments. I'm looking forward to learning more about these efforts and others underway across our region. I'm looking forward to it because the way we design, build, and upgrade our transport networks will help determine whether the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development can be achieved in Asia and the Pacific. Reliable integrated transport networks are essential to the fabric of successful economies and societies. They drive the trade, investment, and growth we need to lift people out of poverty. Our challenge is to make them accessible, safe, and sustainable as we chart a more inclusive, greener course for our region. The region's existing progress towards the SDGs makes overcoming this challenge increasingly urgent. UNESCAP analysis shows our current rate of progress is insufficient to achieve the 2030 agenda. Inequality is increasing, environmental stewardship is inadequate, and our economic models carbon heavy. The transport sector accounts for a quarter of our region's energy consumption and 15% of greenhouse gas emissions. So, innovative, sustainable transport solutions have a vital role to play in getting the region back on track. The good news is that our region has firm foundations on which to build. Let me highlight just 3 areas of recent progress. First, the Intergovernmental Agreement on International Road Transport along the Asian Highway Network between the governments of China, Mongolia, and the Russian Federation has taken the region's connectivity agenda a step further. Signatories have agreed to grant each other traffic rights for international road transport operations on parts of the Asia Highway connecting their territories. The Asian Transport Infrastructure Agreements UNESCAP maintains continue to underpin operational connectivity, reduce regulatory constraints, costs, and delays. Second, the Intergovernmental Agreement on Dry Ports has established a regional framework to shape their development. These dry ports are pivotal to the development of intermodal transport corridors and the efficient shipment of sea cargo to inland destinations by road or rail. But for dry ports to work, a common understanding is needed of the services they provide, from moving freight between different modes of transport to facilitating customs checks to relieve congestion at the border. 13 member states are now parties to the agreement. I look forward to this committee providing further guidance on the design and operations of our region's dry ports. Third, the Sustainable Urban Transport Index for Asian Cities, otherwise known as SUTI, is a user-friendly framework of 10 indicators to help track and compare the performance of city transport systems. 10 cities in the Asia and Pacific region are piloting this tool so that it can be rolled out more widely. This committee's endorsement of SUTI would help us establish new partnerships to expand its applications to other secondary cities. This is just some of the progress on which I hope this committee can build. Your review of the progress in the implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity is essential to inform where further efforts are needed. It will determine how we can support the introduction of new technologies to transport infrastructure networks better, where we should be pressing ahead with further harmonization of standards, regulations, and practices. The best approach to inter-regional coordination between Asia and Europe on transport matters, and how we can strengthen support to countries with special needs, expand sustainable urban and rural transport services, and improve road safety. Building on work underway, we have put forward detailed suggestions for you to consider and look forward to your guidance. My hope is that this committee can also work to endorse a framework to improve the efficiency of railway border crossings along the Trans-Asian Railway Network. This will reduce inefficiencies which impede freight trains' reliability and increase railways' share in the international transport of goods. We want to help improve electronic information exchange between railways, harmonize customs formalities, and improve the efficiency of border crossings. Improving railway crossings is key, not only to promote intra-regional trade, but to reduce the carbon emissions of freight transport. I count on this committee to sharpen the region's focus on road safety in Asia and the Pacific. Our region loses one person in a road crash every 40 seconds. That's 2,000 lives lost every day, and many more people left with life-changing injuries. Member states should consider adopting the new annex to the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Asian Highway Network, which sets quality standards applying to commonly agreed road safety facilities along Asian highways. Let us also take advantage of the recently created UN Road Safety Trust Fund to mobilize additional resources and take coordinated action for safer roads. Ladies and gentlemen, at UNESCAP, we are committed to working with all of you on the sustainable transport agenda. This can only be done through continued strong partnerships between government, the private sector, and regional development partners. My hope is that discussions over the next few days will provide the framework for collaboration and progress for the next 2 years. Together, we can accelerate work towards the sustainable transport needed to achieve the 2030 agenda in Asia and the Pacific. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary. I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Dr. Arkham Derm Pitaya Pasit, Minister of Transport of the Royal Thai Government, to deliver the opening statement.
Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here today to open the 5th session of the ESCAP Committee on Transport, and very honored to do so in the company of Dr. Amida Alice Jabana, ESCAP's newly appointed Executive Secretary. I extend to you, Madam, a warm welcome to the Kingdom of Thailand and wish you all success in the discharge of your duties. Rest assured that throughout your tenure, Thailand will look forward to collaborating with the ESCAP Secretariat in supporting the development of sustainable transport connectivity in our region. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, let me share of Thailand's experience and actions taken under this present government. In September 2015, the Royal Thai government joined the international community in supporting the adoption of the United Nations General Assembly that adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Sustainable Development Goals. Later that same year, Thailand signed the Paris Agreement on Climate Change in New York on the day that it opened for signature on 22nd of April 2016 and became a party to it through ratification on 21st of September 2016. Since then, Thailand has redoubled our efforts to achieve sustainable development within these two important global frameworks. Thailand is on the front line of actions to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 13 on climate change. In that regard, as part of its climate change Master Plan 2015 to 2050, the government has adopted a holistic approach to transform the country's transport sector, and under its National Infrastructure Development Plan, covering the period of 2015 to 2022. Thailand has launched a series of ambitious development projects. The plan calls for investment of at least $75 billion to revamp national infrastructure in maritime transport, air transport, rail, road, logistic facilities, and mass transit in Bangkok, so that each mode complements the others in a way that maximizes the efficiency of the sector while minimizing its negative externalities. In the maritime and logistics sector, the third phase of our deep sea port at Maptaput and our third phase of the Maptaput port and third phase of the Lam Chabang deep sea port expansion projects will increase overall efficiency of the national logistics sector. These projects are being developed in tandem with the development of additional inland container depots across the country, known as dry ports. This facility will be located within 300 kilometers from the main seaport, offer custom clearance, and connected to the modernized national railway network. These arrangements, which aim at lessening cargo congestion in ports, reducing greenhouse gas emission in port cities, and creating the condition for a shift from road to rail, will help the country's business sector increase its competitiveness and allow Thailand to remain one of Asia's top logistic performers. This year, thanks to the government's long-standing commitment to investing in infrastructure, Thailand rose to 32nd in the World Bank's Logistic Performance Index, up from 45th in 2016. In the aviation sector, the construction of the new passenger terminal at Phuket Airport, one of the very congested airports in Thailand, set for completion in 2020, will increase capacity to 30 million passengers from today's 16 million, while in the same year the new concourse will be built under Suvarnabhumi Airport's Phase 2 expansion plan to serve for 60 million passengers per year. At the same time, the new airport at the Utapao, which is the eastern part of Thailand, the so-called the Eastern Economic Corridor. The new airport at Utapao will be developed up to the 60 million passengers per year as well within 10 years. So immediate time for the Utapao airport will be 5 years. The expansion will be 15 years and receive both not only the domestic but also the international flight as well. So these are the development in the aviation sector. Of course, following the guidelines of the International Civil Aviation Organization, or the ICAO, is strictly followed. We still have lots of work to do in order to comply with the ICAO rules and regulations. And we hope that by next year, all the findings imposed by the ICAO will be lifted. In the rail sector, the government has rolled out new projects to make it a key pillar of the national transport sector, as well as a major tool for regional connectivity through double tracking of the network's main line, in particular those leading to land borders with our neighbors. Under the Infrastructure Master Plan, the State Railway of Thailand network is set to expand from 4,050 kilometers to 5,100 kilometers, with the length of double track growing from 360. We have only 360 kilometers of the double track, and they will be expanded to 3,200 kilometers. So the double track projects, which is mainly on the 1 meter gauge system, that will be used for logistic and freight cargo for the country, as well as to connect with other countries as well. The objective is to increase rail freight to over 50 million tons per year by 2022, from 11 million tons in 2015, and attract 75 million passenger trips per year, up from 45 million. The flagship projects under the plan is the construction of the North-South Corridor that will be made up of a high-speed line from Nong Khai at the border with Lao PDR to Bangkok that will link our capital 3 main airports at Don Mueang, Suvarnabhumi, and Utapao, and continue to the port of Lam Chabang, Sattahip, and Mapta Phut. Actually, what I mentioned is the north-south, the high speed, is not only crossing the Mekong River to the capital of Lao PDR, Vientiane, but the Lao and the Chinese government is also working on the high-speed rail as well. So hopefully in the 2022 or 2023, all 3 countries will be linked by the high-speed train from Kunming to Bangkok. So these are major projects in our master plan. In the road sector, Thailand will seek a reduction in the greenhouse gas emissions through the construction of our 4-lane motorways, as well as the upgrading of existing ones to reduce congestion and minimize transit times. Meanwhile, farm-to-market logistics will be improved through the development of rural roads. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, in developing the country's road infrastructure, the government will also take measures to make it safer, recognizing the unacceptably high economic and social costs of road crashes. The government will step up its policy in such areas as drivers' education, law enforcement, and post-crash responses. In that regard, Thailand welcomes the road safety goals, targets, and indicators adopted at the ESCAP Ministerial Conference on Transport held in Moscow in 2016, which provides useful guidance to member states in achieving the road safety-related target of Sustainable Development Goals. I would like to mention a little bit about the road safety. I think this morning we have discussed with the Madam Executive Secretary that it's not only the issue in Thailand, but also the issue in ASEAN is an issue in Asia as well. So I think we have to work together, and thanks for the United Nations that has set up the Global Safety Road Fund for developing countries to use to tackle the issue of the road safety. Actually, for the past few months, I have been working on the road safety for 4 years, since I became the Deputy Minister in 2015. It's quite difficult because the enforcement of the law is one of the issues that most of developing countries facing the difficulties in the enforcement of the law. But I think the most important thing is that, according to my experience for 4 years, I think education is more important. So that's why for the past few months, I have been going to the school, and work with the school children, with the teachers, that please help us check how many students that do not have the proper motorcycle driving license. We still have the 8 million motorcycles that do not have the license. So I think the part of them, they are children. Because in the past 50 years, in the rural area, I'm from the rural area. Using bicycle in the rural area is normal, is common for daily life. But now there's no more bicycle. There's only the motorcycle, because motorcycles are very cheap and easy to buy. Parents just don't buy their bicycle, they just buy the motorcycle and giving to their children without any knowledge of having the license. So some students, they are over, our law is 15 years old, they are eligible for motorcycle driving license. But many students, they are 16, 17, they don't have a license. And many of them, under 15 years old, they don't have, but they drive. For students who are 15 years old, they don't care. And they don't even have the helmet. One of the problems is even they have their helmet, but they said they don't bring it to the school because they're afraid of the stealing of the helmet. So I think that we have to work with the school again, that how to have the facility to keep property, the helmet, to be safe at the school. So these are examples. And what I did is we asked the land transport officer to go to the school and see how many of them, 100 or 200, and get them training at the school. Whenever they have the free hours of the classes, then train them and bring them to the land transport office to get the e-exam. Actually, our passing score is the 90%. It used to be 70, but we tried 100%, but it didn't work. So we reduced to 90% only. Get them test for the pass the e-exam, and get them exam for at the field. Once they passed, we issued the license. And how we issued the license? The minister, myself, I went to the school and organized the class. Not only the people, the students who passed the exam, all together with the teacher and those who don't have the motorcycle, and present them individually the license. And I told them, this is your first degree of your life. The second degree is education degree, whether you get the bachelor, you get the master, you get the PhD. But the driving license is very important for your life. So this is the first one. So you have to keep it. You have to keep it with the, for their life. This is what I did, and I asked the land transport department to spread out this program to all over the country. But apart from that, the school road safety is also important. If they know how to drive, but if the traffic, the traffic signs and the road mark is not clear, then still dangerous for them. So Department of the Rural Road, Department of Highway help making the road in front of school safer. So these are the joint program between our department. So I think the road safety is very important for all our countries in this area. So distinguished delegates, Sustainable Development Goal 17 seeks to strengthen global partnerships to support and achieve the ambitious targets of 2030 agenda. In that regard, Thailand firmly believes that only through partnership, inclusive and sustainable development can be achieved. As the coordinator of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to promote complementarities between the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, Thailand will continue to be a dynamic and active member of the United Nations. In this connection, I'm pleased to note, Madam Executive Secretary, that the actions that Thailand is implementing towards sustainable transport are very much in line with Phase 1 of ESCAP Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific, adopted by the region member states at the Ministerial Conference on Transport held in Moscow in December 2016. Rest assured that we shall continue to march together with you in implementing this regional action program for the benefit of the region and beyond. Excellencies, the distinguished delegates, as the candidate for the ECOSOC membership for the year 2020 to 2022, Thailand is committed to promoting sustainable transport in advancing regional and global efforts in achieving the SDGs. In particular, Thailand sees that sustainable transport is indispensable and is a fundamental precondition for LLDCs to achieve the SDGs. Recognizing the special challenges faced by the LLDCs, Thailand is committed to working together in planning for sustainable transport development for economic growth and greater participation of LLDCs in the global trade. As the host of ESCAP, we are well positioned to maximize our opportunity by synchronizing the works of ESCAP and the ECOSOC in promoting sustainable transport connectivity for the SDG. We are sharing only one goal, a sustainable transport future for all. No one will be left behind. On behalf of Ministry of Transport of the Royal Thai Government, I now declare the 5th session of the Committee on Transport open. And actually, I wish to be staying with you for 3 days to listen what discussed in this meeting. But I will follow up with my staff anyway. So I wish you all very success in your deliberations and very pleasant stay in Bangkok. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency, for your statement and indeed for setting the tones for our deliberations. Distinguished delegates, I understand His Excellency is called by other pressing duties and has to leave us. Excellency, on behalf of all delegations, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to you and your accompanying staff for taking time to open this session with an enlightening speech. Let us give His Excellency Dr. Arkhom Ter Pitayapaisit a round of applause.
Go to page 5. This one. just say this. We don't prepare any copies.
Okay.
Distinguished delegates, I now invite you to proceed with item 1B of the provisional agenda, election of officers. According to the rules of procedures of the Commission, the session will be under the chairmanship of a bureau, which is made up of a chair and 2 vice chairs. And I now open the floor, inviting delegations to elect the bureau. Do I see any delegations ready to propose nominations? I recognize the distinguished delegate from Cambodia. Please, sir, you have the floor.
Very good morning. Mr. Ren, Director of the Director Transport Division. I'm James Savani from Cambodia, Ministry of Public Work and Transport. Taking into this account, the importance of this fifth session of the Committee on Transport, considering the experience and seniority of the delegation, and at the same time keeping in mind the need for the balanced geographical representation, I have the honor to propose the following distinguished delegate for the Bureau. For the position of the chair, Mr. Adam Director, Director General, Ministry of Public, Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, Turkey. For the position of Vice Chair, Mr. Manindra Kishore Majumdar, Joint Secretary, Road Transport and Highway Division, Ministry of Road Transport and Bridges, Bangladesh. And second, Mr. Bambang Prahotono, sorry if not correct the pronunciation. Director General, Greater Jakarta Transport Authority, Ministry of Transportation, Indonesia. Hi, this is my proposal. Thank you very much for this. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Cambodia. Do I see any further nominations? If none, does any delegation wish to second the nominations proposed by the distinguished delegates from Cambodia?
Representative from the Philippines expresses motion to second.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from the Philippines. Do I see any other delegations wish to second the nominations?
I'm from Sri Lanka. I'm Ratnaik, Additional Secretary from Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation. Dear Mr. Ren, I have the pleasure to second the nomination for the Bureau as proposed by the distinguished delegate of Cambodia. I am confident that with their collective experience, knowledge, and wisdom, they will be able to guide this session through its deliberations to successful conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Sri Lanka. Are there any other delegations willing to take the floor? So I recognize the distinguished delegates from Kazakhstan. Sir, you have the floor.
Good morning, dear Mr. Ren. My delegation would like to second the nomination for the Bureau just proposed by the distinguished delegation of Cambodia. I thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegates from Kazakhstan. Are there any other delegations willing to take the floor? I see none. With that, I take it the floor has unanimously elected the following distinguished delegates as members of the Bureau. For the position of the chair, Mr. Erdem Director, Director General, Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, Turkey. For the positions of vice chairs, Mr. Manindra Kishore Majuda, Joint Secretary, Road Transport and Highway Division, Ministry of Road Transport and Bridges, Bangladesh. Mr. Bambang Prihartono, Director General, Greater Jakarta Transport Authority, Ministry of Transport, Indonesia. So let us congratulate the members of the Bureau. So a round of applause. I now invite Mr. Erdem, Director, Chair, to please join me on the rostrum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ren. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I consider it an honor and privilege to assume the chairmanship of the Committee on Transport at its 5th session. On behalf of other members of the Bureau, I wish to express our appreciation to the distinguished delegates for the confidence you have placed in us. I look forward to working closely with all of you over the next 3 days to accomplish the task before us. Before we get on with our task, I would like, on behalf of all of you here present, to express our congratulations to Dr. Armida Alijiabana on her recent appointment as Executive Secretary of ESCAP. This committee looks forward to working closely with her throughout her tenure on making sustainable transport a driver of economic growth and a key actor in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. On behalf of all of us, I also thank to Dr. Armida Alijiabana for her opening statement. Finally, I wish to convey the deepest gratitude of the committee to His Excellency, Mr. Arkham Trampelitsit, Minister of Transport of the Royal Thai Government, for honoring us with his presence at the opening ceremony. We shall now take up agenda item 1C, the adoption of the agenda. The annotated provisional agenda was made available to all of the delegation via the ESCAP website under document ESCAP/CTR/2018/L1 revision 1 dated 25th October 2018. Before I seek the views of the delegations on the agenda, I would like to inform the committee that we have the honor to to have among us His Excellency Mr. Alexander Gorovoy, First Deputy Minister of Interior of the Russian Federation, who is also the high-level official selected by member states to be the voice of the Commission on Advisory Board on newly established Global Road Safety Trust Fund. Regrettably, His Excellency can be with us only today, as a result of which the Secretary proposed that right after lunch, the first item under Agenda Item 3, Major Issues in Transport, be Item 3F on improving road safety in Asia and Pacific. I am sure that we have the support of the committee on this proposal. With this clarification made, are there any comments? I see none. If there is no comments, the agenda as contained in document SCAP/CTR/2018/L1/revision 1 is adopted with the understanding that the item 3F will be discussed as the first sub-item under item 3, major issues in transport. After the adoption of agenda, I take it that the agenda contained in document SCAP/CTR/2018/L1/revision 1 is adopted with no proposal from the member states. Before the proceeding to other agenda, I understand the Secretariat has some announcement to make. I give the floor, Mr. Ran, Director of ESCAP's Transport Division. Mr. Ran, please, the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished delegates, so I'd like to inform the delegates that the ESCAP Secretariat is now following a paper-smart model for all intergovernmental meetings. This means that printed copies of list of participants, the tentative program, and the order of the day will no longer be distributed. We kindly request all delegates to review the list of participants using the touch screen system in front of this conference room to check that all details for your delegation are accurate. If you would like to amend your information, please inform our conference room staff at your earliest convenience. I would like to invite the distinguished delegates wishing to make statements to submit their names and written statements to the conference room officer seated to my left. A copy of the speaker form should be before you. If not, copies can be made available to you on your request. The statement will be returned to you as soon as a copy is made. Submitting a written statement will ensure that your comments are accurately reflected in the draft report, which will be presented for your consideration and adoption on Wednesday afternoon. The Secretariat would also like to encourage each delegation to make their intervention focusing on each of the agenda items under discussion. The floor will be open for statements from members and associate members, then observers. Once all country statements have been made, we will invite statements from intergovernmental bodies, after which we will open the floor to the representatives of UN bodies and specialized agencies, and finally to designated representatives of civil society, major groups, and other stakeholders. For those delegations wishing to have bilateral consultations to promote dialogue and networking with other delegations, please know that we have booked a meeting room for your use and assigned Ms. Tavitra to assist you in coordinating the arrangements. I'm pleased to inform you that at 12 o'clock today, a welcome reception will be hosted by the Royal Thai government in honor of the delegates on the ground floor of this conference center. Before adjourning for the reception lunch, a group photo will be arranged inside this room. As you are aware, 2 special events will be arranged during the committee session as follows. On the 20th November, a side event on road safety, perspectives from Belgium civil society practitioners, including an informal lunch co-organized by the Embassy of Belgium, will be arranged at the public foyer located on the ground floor of this conference center. In the morning of the 21st November, a special event on the sustainable urban mobility in ASEAN cities, followed by a buffet lunch, will be co-organized by International Transport Forum and Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism of Japan at Meeting Room F, located 1 floor down from where we are. As regards our proceedings, in order to ensure clarity, I would be grateful if delegations could limit their interventions to each agenda item under discussion. This would facilitate timekeeping and also ease note-taking by our staff and guarantee clear and accurate reporting by the Secretariat. Finally, in making their statements under the different agenda items, delegations may please consider providing guidance to the Secretariat on its work in the area of transport or specific areas in which they feel technical assistance from the Secretariat is most urgently needed. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ram, for this most useful information. Without further ado, I now invite the committee to proceed with agenda item 2, review of the implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and Pacific, Phase 1, 2017 and 2021. I now invite the Director of the ESCAP Transport Division to introduce the agenda item for which the documents ESCAP/CTR/2018/1 dated 12 September 2018 and the ESCAP/CTR 2018/1 dated 11 October 2018 were made available through the ESCAP website. Mr. Ran, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I'm pleased to introduce Agenda Item 2, Review of the Implementation of the Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and Pacific, Phase 1. Since the adoption of the Regional Action Program at the third session of the Ministerial Conference on Transport in December 2016, the Secretariat has been actively conducting activities in all 7 thematic areas outlined in the Regional Action Program in close cooperation with the Commission members, associate members, and development partners. First, in the area of transport infrastructure connectivity, under the joint efforts of member countries, the region's transport infrastructure networks have been further expanded. To date, there are 30 parties to the Intergovernmental Agreement on the Asia Highway Network, 19 parties to the Agreement on the Trans-Asia Railway Network, and 13 parties to the Agreement on Dry Ports. In 2017, the Secretariat convened 3 working groups which adopted a number of amendments to the rules of the highway and the railway networks, the list of dry ports, and a new annex to the Agreement on Asia Highway Network on safety facilities. Acting on the recommendation of the Working Group on Dry Ports, the Commission adopted Resolution 74/2 on the promotion of the regional framework for the planning, design, development, and operation of dry ports. Subsequently, the Secretariat organized a series of capacity-building seminars to help member countries utilize the framework effectively. At the request of the Working Group on Asia Highway, the Secretariat launched a study on co-deployment of fiber optic cables along roads and railways. Its findings and recommendations will be presented at the workshop to be held on Thursday this week. Second, in parallel to promoting regional transport infrastructure connectivity, the Secretariat also conducted a number of activities to promote regional transport operational connectivity. Under the project Harmonization of Rules and Regulations for Facilitation of International Railway Transport, a draft framework on enhancing the efficiency of railway border crossings was prepared by the Secretariat and further developed jointly with the Organization for Cooperation between Railways. The framework has been submitted to this committee for consideration and endorsement under Agenda Item 3B. To support member countries in operationalizing seamless transport connectivity, the Secretariat organized the capacity-building workshops on strengthening transport connectivity among Cambodia, Laos PDR, Myanmar, Vietnam, and Thailand in 2017 and 2018. Following the signing of the Intergovernmental Agreement on International Road Transport along the Asia Highway Network among China, Mongolia, and the Russia Federation, the Commission adopted Resolution 73/4, requesting the Secretariat to continue supporting the implementation of the agreement. The Secretariat has planned a series of activities to facilitate its smooth and efficient implementation. Third, to work towards the establishment of an interregional coordination committee on transport between Asia and Europe, the Secretariat has prepared the draft terms of reference of the proposed committee and conducted consultations with the Secretariat of UNECE. The Secretariat was informed that the draft terms of reference had been submitted to the Bureau of the UNECE Inland Transport Committee for consideration. In that context, the Secretariat has launched a project entitled Connecting Transport Infrastructure Networks in Asia and Europe in support of interregional sustainable transport connectivity. The Secretariat also conducted a study on the comprehensive planning of the Euro-Asia transport corridors. 3 main transport corridors to enhance Euro-Asia connectivity were identified under the study, and 3 related expert group meetings were organized. Fourth, to improve transport connectivity for the countries with special needs, the Secretariat has implemented a UN Development Account project strengthening connectivity of countries in South and Central Asia, particularly landlocked and least developed countries, aiming to link sub-regional and regional transport and trade networks. The Secretariat organized a seminar to identify key issues and potential next steps for addressing railway connectivity challenges for countries in the Caucasus and Central Asia sub-regions, and a capacity-building training workshop to help least developed countries of Southeast Asia prioritize railway infrastructure projects. The fifth, sustainable urban transport is an area highlighted in the 2030 agenda. In response to the concerns about urban transport, the Secretariat developed the Sustainable Urban Transport Index, SUTI in short, for Asian cities, with the view to help member countries to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 11 on sustainable cities and communities. So far, the Secretariat has provided advisory and capacity-building support to 10 Asian cities for their pilot applications of SUTI. More information about SUTI will be introduced under Agenda Item 3E. Recognizing the role of ITS in addressing urban transport challenges, the Secretariat has conducted a series of research and analysis in this regard, and plans to publish the Transport Bulletin under the theme Intelligent Transport Systems in December this year. 6, to promote rural transport connectivity to wider networks. The Secretariat, in cooperation with the United Nations Center for Regional Development and other entities, organized the Regional Environmentally Sustainable Transport Forum in Wantian in March 2017, which adopted the Wantian Declaration on Sustainable Rural Transport. In conjunction with the forum, the Secretariat and the UNCRD jointly organized a regional seminar on sustainable and inclusive transport development to foster the rural transport. The Secretariat also provided a regional-level review of rural transport in the Review of Development in Transport in Asia and Pacific 2017. Last but not least, the issue of improving road safety was reiterated by Commission Resolution 74/3 to facilitate effective implementation of the United Nations road safety legal instruments. The Secretariat, in coordination with UNECE and other UN entities, carried out a road safety project and held national capacity building workshops and conducted road safety audits in Vietnam in 2017. The Secretariat organized the Southeast Asia Sub-Regional Capacity Building Workshop in Cambodia on the updated regional road safety goals and targets. Meanwhile, the Secretariat has begun to carry out a project aimed at tackling the main causes of road traffic crashes fatalities, and injuries in the Asia-Pacific region. The United Nations Road Safety Trust Fund was formally launched in April this year. The Secretariat actively participated in the activities supporting the establishment and operation of the trust fund, which will be further introduced under Agenda Item 3F this afternoon. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, your long-standing support is indispensable to the progress mentioned above. Please allow me, on behalf of the Secretariat, to express our sincere gratitude to all of you, the donors and contributors in particular, for your kind and generous support. Transport is mainstreamed into a number of sustainable development goals under 2030 Agenda. The implementation of the Regional Action Program is crucial to support the region to achieve its sustainable development goals. The Secretariat is fully aware of the challenges ahead of us and will continue to concentrate our mind on its implementation. We look forward to having your continuous support and even closer collaboration with all of you. Finally, the committee may wish to review the activities described in the present document and provide further guidance to the Secretariat on future activities in support of the implementation of the Regional Action Program. Delegates are also invited to inform the committee of the progress and the relevant activities at the national, sub-regional, and regional levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ren, for your comprehensive explanation. Now, I would like to open the floor for discussion of Agenda Item 2. Okay, I see a distinguished delegate from on my list from the Russian Federation, please.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги, уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые дамы и господа. Пользуясь случаем, хотел бы от души поздравить госпожу Алихаш Бану с назначением на должность исполнительного секретаря ИСКАДа. Рассчитываем на плодотворное сотрудничество с вами по всем вопросам развития транспортного сектора, включая проблематику обеспечения безопасности дорожного движения. Российская делегация всецело разделяет линию ИСКАТа на последовательное и комплексное рассмотрение вопросов развития транспорта и транспортной связуемости, который имеет ключевое значение не только для социального и экономического развития стран региона, но и служит повышению удельного веса Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона в международном разделении труда и глобальной торговли. Ожидаем, что предстоящая сессия примет практические решения по дальнейшей реализации региональной программы действий по обеспечению устойчивости транспортной связуемости в нашем регионе, принятой Министерской конференцией ИСКАДа по транспорту в 2016 году в Москве. Осознавая особое значение развития трансконтинентальных транспортных коридоров, рассчитываем, что комитет придаст необходимый импульс запуску межрегионального координационного комитета по транспорту между Азией и Европой при обсуждении соответствующего пункта повестки дня, которое Российская Федерация предложила для заседания сессии сегодняшнего комитета. Принимая во внимание высокие темпы урбанизации в регионе, а также актуальный характер новой городской повестки для стран нашего региона, полагаем важным продолжить работу ИСКАДа по внедрению безопасных городских транспортных систем. В продолжении состоявшейся в прошлом году в Хабаровске конференции по проблематике устойчивого и безопасного городского пассажирского транспорта мы предлагаем и просили бы обратить на это особое внимание, созвать в 2020 году под эгидой ИСКАДа Азиатско-Тихоокеанскую международную конференцию по безопасности, эффективности и устойчивости городского транспорта и просим комитет принять это предложение на ваше рассмотрение. Россия традиционно уделяет большое внимание тематике обеспечения безопасности дорожного движения. В моей стране последовательно реализуется комплекс мер по повышению безопасности на дорогах. На законодательном уровне принята стратегия по безопасности дорожного движения. В центре этой работы такие ключевые направления, как формирование культуры поведения участников движения и должного уровня правосознания, повышение защищенности от дорожно-транспортных происшествий и их последствий для детей и пешеходов, а также развитие системы оказания помощи. Президент нашей страны перед нами поставил амбициозную задачу в ближайшие 6 лет снизить уровень погибших в расчете на 100 тысяч населения в 3 раза до 2024 года. Благодаря принятым мерам число погибших в автомобильных авариях в России за последние 6 лет сократилось на треть. За это же время удалось добиться снижения показателей смертности уязвимых участников движения. Среди несовершеннолетних на 24%, пешеходов на треть, мотоциклистов в 2 раза. Этого впечатляющего прогресса удалось добиться в условиях интенсивного роста транспорта. За последние 5 лет динамика прироста транспорта в моей стране составила более чем 20%. Российская Федерация готова делиться наработками в вопросах снижения смертности и травматизма дорожно-транспортных происшествий со странами региона. Но мы готовы и черпать опыт других стран и будем делать это с большим удовольствием. Данной цели уже достигнуты, служит запущенный в этом году на средства российского добровольного взноса проект технического содействия, направленный на повышение возможностей правительств по борьбе с вождением в нетрезвом состоянии и нарушением скоростного режима. Россия является одной из ключевых доноров деятельности ИСКАТа в транспортной сфере. В настоящее время мы финансируем 3 проекта ИСКАДа. Уважаемые коллеги знают наименование этих проектов. В силу дефицита времени я не буду останавливаться на их названиях, но моя страна подтверждает и в дальнейшем пролонгацию работы в этом направлении. Спасибо.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Russian Federation. Now I recognize the distinguished delegate of Thailand. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This morning, during opening statement, you all have listened from our minister about what Thailand have developed many ongoing activities and programs regarding to transport infrastructure and program in order to satisfactorily support for sustainable transport connectivity in Asia and Pacific. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you all about our concrete sustainable strategic program in Thailand regarding to transport connectivity. As being embraced the sufficient economy philosophy principle of His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej incorporate with the adoption of 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goal. The Royal Thai government committed to achieve a more sustainable and resilient path to economic and social development. With this regard, the Ministry of Transport has transferred the blueprint into action by formulation of 20-year strategic plan of transport system development strategy from 2018 to 2037, and the Transport Infrastructure Development Plan 2015 to 2022. The 20-year strategic plan for transport development is a comprehensive vision in light of three fundamental concepts, includes number one, transport efficiency, number two, green and safe transport, and number three, inclusivity, which also reflect various thematic areas of the regional action program for sustainable transport connectivity. Transport efficiency is highlighted on the effectiveness for transport, both connectivity within city, intercity, and cross-border, with the concept of modal shift from road to a more sustainable mode of transport, such as rail and waterway. In reference with the implementation of intergovernment agreement on Trans-Asia Railway Network, a number of rail development projects are being implemented or considered, comprising the construction of new railway line and missing link to neighboring countries, the construction of double tracks to increase transport capacity and upgrade of existing railway track to improve safety, already been done. Road, highways, and motorway are being developed. In particular, 80% of existing highway have been upgraded to the primary and class 1 in compliance with the Asia Highway Design Standard classification in order to improve the road safety. Moreover, integrated program for balancing hardware and software on road safety as the Minister already explained this morning, in terms of education, is also a very active program in Thailand right now. Moreover, in addition, Thailand has also strongly support the intermodal transport with the plan to improve the transport facilities, such as an inland container depot, to promote trade and movement of goods. As for the green and safe transport, environment and transport safety are major concerns in Thailand in achieving sustainable transport. The Royal Thai government by Prime Minister has ratified the Paris 2015 Agreement COP21 at the UN Climate Change Conference. Thailand is therefore committed to significantly reduce the use of fossil fuel and emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We aim to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 20% within 2030, which is 5.6% in transport sector. Alternative fuel and a more environmental friendly mode of transport has been promoted. Inclusivity is another concept to provide equity and equality in accessible on transport system for every people with affordable price. Minister of Transport put the policy on public transport to concern with universal accessibility for not only the elderly but also children and disabled by implementing universal design for all modes of transport, infrastructure, vehicle, and facility. In conclusion, even though Asia and the Pacific can be a role model for regional connectivity for other parts of the world, but if we look beyond enhanced physical connectivity, which sustain economic development and deepen economic integration. It will be ultimately result in better connectivity with the region and international market. Moreover, since the achievement of sustainable connectivity in Asia and Pacific has a long way to go, Thailand is committed to promoting the activity implemented under the Regional Action Program and continue close collaboration with the UNESCAP as well as other member countries in order to achieve the effective result. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Thailand. Although in the program there is no sign for the coffee break and there is no coffee out of the meeting room, as far as I saw, but personally I used the opportunity to give 15 minutes for break, coffee, tea, or whatever our distinguished delegates would like to take. Thank you. 15 minutes break at the moment. Thank you.